Today we are cooking with one of the most dangerous tools in my kitchen, and we are making a frittata, and I promise it is so good that you're not going to spend the whole time wishing you'd actually made a quiche. Let's get going. Hey there, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm happy to have you here. Today we are playing around with the frittata. I don't make a lot of frittatas in this kitchen because frankly they kind of bore me. I really always miss the bottom crust that you have when you make a quiche. I know that there is a place for frittata, but that place is usually not in my kitchen. That said, today we're going to try to cheat a little bit of a crust using some potatoes. And we are using a mandolin. The mandolin is one of the sharpest tools in my kitchen, and every time I use it, I hope that I don't cut my fingers off. Let's hope that today is the same. I've got on my stove behind me a giant pot of boiling water. It's to par cook these red potatoes. The first thing we have to do then is get a nice thin slice on our potatoes. You don't need a mandolin and you don't need to risk life and limb to cut potatoes really thinly. You can use a knife, but I find that it makes it go so much faster than my questionable knife skills. So all you do is take your potato, you place it on the guard, and then you're gonna run this guard back and forth across the blade, which is here. There's a dial on the side that allows me to dial up or down the thickness of the slice of the potato. So I'll do a couple, and we can check it out and see if they're the right thickness. I think that's probably about the right thickness for our potatoes. We have a ton of perfectly sliced potatoes. So over to our boiling water. With a bench scraper go my potatoes. I expect these to take just a couple of minutes. We're just looking for those potatoes to be nice and soft, but not completely falling apart because we're going to continue to cook them in the skillet. So the next thing we're going to do is mix up our filling, and this really could not be easier. I'm using about 10 eggs. You should have about an egg for every inch of skillet. So if you have a 12-inch skillet, use a dozen eggs. So 10 eggs, and then I'm going to use probably about 1/3 of a cup of cream. I've got some caramelized onions that I made earlier this week, leftovers. If you're interested in learning how to make caramelized onions, let me know. It could not be easier. And then salt and pepper, a little bit of nutmeg, and then a couple of cheeses that we're gonna grate in and on to our frittata. So let's get going with cracking these eggs. 6 of these eggs are from my neighbor's yard chickens. So I'm gonna just crack each of them into its own measuring cup and into the bowl. There's always a chance with eggs that one of them could be bad, and I would hate to risk for one bad egg. But I will always take a chicken that I have watched be raised over store-bought eggs. Now to add to our eggs, a little bit of cream. So probably about 1/3 of a cup right in with our eggs. A little grate of nutmeg, using my handy dandy microplane. And some thyme. I'm actually going to save some of these nice little tops of the thyme, the ones that come right up to the top. I'm going to save some of those for the top of our frittata. A frittata is known as a kitchen sink dish, meaning you can really put anything in it that you want. You can change the flavors based on the leftovers you have in your fridge, based on what you're feeling that day. But for me, the flavors of caramelized onion and gruyere and thyme are really hard to beat. And since I'm really trying to work on liking frittatas more, I figured I would give myself a head start and choose flavors that I really enjoy. Okay, so that's probably, I don't know, 2 teaspoons of fresh thyme. And I'm gonna save these guys for the top and maybe a few more. Okay, checking on our potatoes again. So we've got a fork that pierces them quite easily, so I think I'm gonna take them out. I think we're gonna call that good. They'll continue to cook in the skillet, and then when the frittata goes in the oven, so we don't wanna overcook them. I've just got a prepared baking tray with some paper towels. I'm gonna scatter them on top of it. Get them to dry off pretty quickly. And there are our cooked potatoes. Just gonna set these to the side as we continue working on our filling. So I'm just gonna give this a whisk. If you incorporate too much air into them, the frittata can get spongy and just a little bit less appetizing. So just until combined. That's it, there we go, off to the side. Okay, while our potatoes continue to cool a little bit, I'm just gonna shred some cheese. I think I'm looking for about a cup total of cheese. Some of it I'm gonna mix into our egg mixture, and some of it I'm gonna sprinkle right on top. This is gruyere, but you could use really whatever cheese you want. Mozzarella could be good. You could do a flavor where cheddar is the cheese that you use. All sorts of different options. Yeah, that looks great. And then for the parm, I'm gonna use my microplane. So this is where it gets interesting. I'm going to shingle these potatoes in the bottom of this saucepan. I'm gonna get some oil hot before I do that. And I've not tried this method before, so you and I will learn together how well it will work. The intent of doing it on the stove like this is to try to get a little crisp on the bottom of our potatoes. Starting to sizzle already. So I'm just covering as much of the surface area here as I can over about a medium heat, trying to get a full kind of bottom crust. So we're about 3 potatoes thick. And I'm thinking that that might be enough. And I'm gonna season this layer of the dish. So salt and pepper. Now we don't want to take this too far because it's only those bottom potatoes that are getting the crispy crunch and we don't want them to burn. My oven is on 350, but it's on convection, so it will move the air all around the pan, hopefully cook our eggs nice and evenly. Okay, so eggs, done. We're gonna add the Parmesan that we grated and most of that gruyere. It's probably all gonna sink to the bottom, which is fine, but I'm gonna mix it in anyway. Caramelized onions go in. So I've just snuck a peek at our potatoes. The bottom is a light golden brown. I'm gonna shut the heat off underneath them, move them off the heat. Okay, it's been a couple minutes, and I've actually taken some of the crispy potatoes from the bottom of the pan and moved them up to the top, so we have more of a crispy layer on the bottom. But I'm gonna call this good. Okay, our potatoes have been sitting for about 5 minutes. The whole purpose of that was that our pan was screaming hot to crisp up those potatoes, and I wanted to make sure that when we poured our egg mixture in, we didn't scorch the bottom of those eggs. It's just right in. Top it with a little bit of our cheese. I'm gonna grate a little bit more cheese over the top. A couple of these little sprigs of thyme. And into the oven it goes. And I think it will probably take 16 to 20 minutes. Might even take a little bit longer than that. What I'm looking for is when the center is almost just not jiggly. We don't want it to be undercooked, but we definitely also don't want to overcook it. So I'll keep an eye on it and be back to you when we're ready to pull it out. It's been in for about 22 minutes. Give it a check. Not much of a jiggle left. I'm gonna pull it. Looks delicious. Now we wait. Oh, that was incredibly scary, but we did it. Look how beautiful and golden brown that looks. You can see the potatoes. It looks absolutely amazing. I'm gonna serve this cold, so I'm just gonna let it continue to come to room temperature. But I'm gonna take a little taste of it here with you right now. That looks great. You can see the layers of potato, the nice cheesy top. Okay, let's see how we did. That is so good. Really, really good. I think we succeeded. I'm not even mad that there's no bottom crust because we've got these delicious potatoes that are nice and crispy. Wow, I'm so happy with this. Thank you so much for being here with me to experiment in the kitchen, not cut our fingers off, and make a less boring frittata than normal. I hope you'll give this recipe a try. Let me know in the comments below if you do, and if you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more. Thanks for being here with me today.